Hello and welcome to Otter Tank, the show where you get to watch firsthand as two students create and pitch their promotional plans to a real client. I'm Dan Garrity from the College of Western Idaho's marketing program, and thanks so much for joining us for what we hope will be a creative way to share how we attempt to help students transition from the academic world to the professional world. This show is actually a class. It's MRKT 290, the marketing capstone. And in any capstone experience, students are challenged to put everything together to prove to themselves and to the world that they are able to take the academic concepts they've been studying and transfer them into real, practical, and effective strategies that will help a client realize their business goals. Right now, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine who's agreed to be our first ever Otter Tank client. Hello, Kathy Ussery, one of the owners of Jack's Place and a really longtime friend of the College of Western Idaho. Thanks so much for joining us for this. Tell us about Jack's Place. You've been right across the street from our Nampa campus for about 3 years. What kind of a place is it?
We are primarily a family-owned business, and because of that, we want it to be welcoming to families, and it is. We've achieved a true, we call it Jack's Place neighborhood grill, and that's what we've always envisioned, that this is where people will gather and enjoy each other's company, families, friends, seeing your neighbor at the next table and saying hi, and we love what we've created.
You have created exactly that, I would say. Last time I was in, I talked to one of the other owners, your daughter Haley, about the culture that you have created there, because it's not, yes, I do believe that happens to a customer, but your staff as well all seem bought in. How does that happen?
We treat everybody like family, and Jeff and I are kind of like mom and dad, and Haley's the big sister. So it really is a family culture down to every single person, the person washing the dishes, the bussers, everybody, and everybody. They sometimes bicker like family too, but that's okay.
Okay, Kathy. So I'm going to step aside, and one by one, the two competitors will join you on this Zoom call. They'll each have 10 minutes to ask their questions, get to know you, and get to know how they can help. Once again, thank you so much, and good luck.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Kathy. I've honestly never heard of Jack's Place, so I thought this was a cool experience and opportunity for me to, I guess, interview you and get the aspect of like the restaurant world, like that industry. But so how has Jack's Place impacted your life since you first operated?
Oh boy, it's definitely life-changing. We've had other business before, and not related to the restaurant industry at all. So this was definitely something that has impacted our lives and almost has become our life, really. And we're very passionate about what we do, and we love that actually our whole family works on it together, including our son, who is a dish prep cook. So yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, that's cool though, that your whole family's in it. Yeah. How does social media fit into your growth plan, and why start it now?
Well, we actually are fairly active in social media at the time. One of our focuses, we do live music on the weekends. And so we use that as kind of a jumping off point for a weekly email that we send to our customer group of about 2,500. And with that, we showcase whatever performers are playing over the weekend. And we also talk about anything that might be new on the menu. Some important, like Valentine's Day coming up, make your reservation, any January birthdays, buy them a gift card, that type of thing. So it's kind of an all-inclusive. This is, we're not inundating people with too many emails, so they get it one time a week, and it just kind of a recap of everything. And we use a lot of images. And so with that, we also push that out as a blog to our website. And it also gets shared through the typical social media platforms of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But I do think, though, that there, I mean, I know there's always more way, like you've never heard of us. So I know that not everybody knows who we are. And it surprises me a lot when I hear people saying, oh, I've driven by so many times and I finally decided to come in, or I'll meet somebody outside that's seen us and never been in, but they met me and they say, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to go in. So there's a lot of people that maybe either don't know about us or they've seen it, but they haven't tried us yet. So compelling them to make that move to actually come in.
Yeah. Okay, so that goes good with this question that I have. So why do you think it's not being as effective as it should be?
You know, I don't know. I know one thing is with things like Twitter and Instagram, those aren't probably, like, sharing that email that we do is probably not the best, because it's really either a quick blurb if you're on Twitter, or really photo driven if it's Instagram. So even though we're using those tools, I don't think we're using them to the best, the way they're intended and the way that people who are successful with those are using them. So that's, I think, probably primarily. So we have a really good following on Facebook and people are pretty active with our posts, but not so much the other platforms.
Sure. Who do you hope to target when building your social media platforms?
Well, it's always a hard question for me because it's really anybody who eats, but which is kind of everyone. But people that appreciate good quality food, because that's what we have. Is, we're a lot of food from scratch, and we take real pride in the actual plates that go out, everything that we serve. And then also people who are social and, are wanting to go there, not just to eat and go, but to really kind of enjoy the experience that we provide for customers. So getting a whole, sense of, not, this isn't just a place to eat my meal, it's a place to go.
All right. I like that. What type of content would you hope to produce?
I think, like, just, if we're talking about Instagram, like really compelling photos, just something that when people are scrolling, it makes them stop. And then on Twitter, and I think this one would be even harder, would be some, great phraseology that's going to get people wanting to retweet it, or, get people liking it, something just really compelling. And I'm great with writing. And I'll tell you another thing that we do is we do a half-page ad in the Idaho Press every other Wednesday, and we write it like an article. And so we actually will tell a story, tell the background of the artists that are playing that weekend, or we have a little server robot. We profiled that. We've done a lot of different articles, but that Twitter thing of just getting something out there that's just a real zinger, that would be, that to me is not my strong suit anyway.
So describe what your brand voice would look like in that sense.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How can I phrase this? Pretty much like, how would you, your brand voice. So pretty much, how would you want Jack's Place to appear on social media? Like the vibe you give off.
Yeah, like, relaxed and fun and family friendly. Yeah, I think those would be the tag words I would use.
How do you define success for your business on social media?
The level of interaction that we get, like for our emails, we pay attention to the percentage rate of opens, because there's not everybody actually opens the emails. So that number, as it tracks to vary a week over week, and comparing the content and maybe why this one was more successful and why it wasn't, or if it's social media likes and shares.
Okay. What is your workflow process for content from beginning to publication?
Just knowing what's happening, having a pulse on, not just what's happening in our restaurant, but what's happening in the community. And then if it's the newspaper article, it's just writing a story, and picking a good headline. I usually start with that and then revise it as we go. For our emails, it's more, I try to be more concise, but as compelling as possible with, each of the photos that I put in, whether it's, our Valentine's drink, or it's our performer or trio of performer panel that we, just a brief descriptor, and try not to keep it just like it was last week, but something just a little bit different each time, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, right. To get something exciting to look forward to, exactly. So what type of atmosphere are new customers able to experience when visiting Jack's? And what do you think that keeps customers coming back?
It's welcoming, that our staff is welcoming and friendly, very engaging, and also that everybody is very proud of the food. We talk to customers, especially people who haven't been in before. The servers all, if they ask them if they've been in before, and then if they have not, explain to them that we are from scratch, and talk about, and that usually gets a conversation going with the customer, where they'll maybe ask, well, what do you like, and that type of thing. And so it's a real conversation with the customers, and they get that feeling that their being here matters.
Yeah. Well,
which it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for your time. It was really nice to hear.
I appreciate your time too.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon, Kathy.
Hi, Brian.
So Carmen actually asked a couple of the questions that I was going to ask you, but thankfully I have a couple extras. The primary question that I wanted to find was she asked about what success you're looking for from this project, but what on a personal level are you hoping to get out of our involvement together?
I'd like to be able to, I know how important marketing is, and it's something that we've always valued, but I also know, and one of the things that I think contributes to our success is that we realize that there's always something more you can do. You can always make yourself just a little bit better, either changing what you're already doing, or trying something new and different that you haven't attempted before.
Oh, excellent. I have noticed that you've gone on a lot of different social media. So I have noticed that your Instagram account, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, I've been trying to look at those, trying to get ideas about what's been going on. Currently, who runs your social media?
Jeff and I do mainly. We get some contribution from, we actually have 4 Haleys, but 2 of the Haleys. Yeah, so, but for the most part, it's Jeff and I.
Oh, sounds good. And then what age demographics do you find come into your restaurant a lot? Because I know that you're always looking for that sort of family-friendly atmosphere. I assume that you're looking for a lot of families to come into your restaurant, but is that what you're seeing? Are you seeing like adults in their like later years or young adults? Because you're right across from CWI's.
Yeah, it's all of that, But I would say we don't get a big, not a lot of younger demographic, and actually, we don't see all that many CWI students, and I would love to be able to service more of the CWI population. And I know it's not like a traditional college where, people stay around campus and hang out. It's like go to class, go home, you're not spending a whole lot of time hanging around campus. So, but, if we're a place that they think of, maybe if they've got an hour gap between classes or something and they need a place to study, we've got plugins and a countertop where they can do that and grab a quick bite. But reaching out and finding more CWI students, I think it's a gap we definitely have right now.
Oh, of course. So obviously we'll be trying to focus on that demographic as well. We'll obviously still be trying to maintain what you already have.
Right.
What currently do you do to keep, or what's the strongest aspect that you feel keeps people from, or that keeps people coming back time and time again?
The experience and the quality of food. Yeah,
Oh.
It's definitely those two things.
So the people and the food. Oh, that's a good thing to have, especially with social media. And
Yes.
then since this is a social media project, I just wanted to ask, what currently are you doing, like in the near future, far future, what have you, like what do you have in plan to sort of improve that social aspect for your social media accounts?
I don't really have, I guess that's kind of why I'm here, is maybe with some, to get some fresh ideas. And I feel like we do a fairly good job with our email and blogging, and, our website's getting good traffic, and, we come up as in high relevance on Google Map searches. So I feel like in some ways we are doing a lot of things right. But again, I'm looking for maybe some, new ideas to either reach some people that we're not currently reaching, or to do a better job on some of those other platforms like Instagram and Twitter.
No, of course. As you were saying, there's always something else that can be tried or something else that can be done. So thankfully
Exactly.
with social media, it's a relatively not new, I wouldn't say, but it is newer in terms of marketing. So there's always some sort of ideas that we can bring out and try. And then I also wanted to ask, so you're trying to focus forward on these platforms. Are you still hoping to sort of gather that family-friendly atmosphere, or are you trying to focus in on like a new personality? Because as you said, you were trying to bring some people in from CWI, but you were still sort of looking for that family-friendly atmosphere. Is there a specific demographic that you're aiming for?
It's kind of tough with restaurant, because it really is everybody eats, and everybody is a potential customer. So if you think about financially speaking, people with a little bit more expendable income, that's always a good idea. So people that are, they're still working, maybe they're not on a fixed income, but they're they have extra cash in their pockets, and that can be people of a wide variety.
Oh, for sure. Well, everyone needs to eat, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I did ask about the future for your social media, but sort of since your business is so closely tied to the actual social media itself, what future plans do you have for the restaurant? Like, what could we be focusing on, sort of presenting as like a soon or like far off idea that we could be sort of showing to people, that saying, hey, this is new, this is fresh, this is something that we're bringing to the table?
Right. So something that we're just getting ready to embark on is I've actually been working with our wine supplier, and our wine sales as a category have not been what I would like to see them be. And I've been working with our supplier to really flesh out our offering, and I feel like we've done that, and we're continuing to work on it. But we're also now offering a complimentary wine tasting one time a month. And that actually starts next week on Tuesday is our first one. It'll be the final Tuesday of every month to keep consistency. And so I think trying to get, that out there and more people thinking of us as a place to enjoy a really good wine with their meal, whether it be for lunch, dinner, whatever.
That's understandable.
Mhm.
And then sort of speaking on consistency, obviously when you're making a social media, sort of anything really, when you're making an announcement, you're sort of planning ahead. What day do you find is usually your most popular day? Because I want to know what sort of days I should be planning on the off chance that, you know, things go well. Obviously, I want to know where I should be sort of allocating my time so that when people get their notifications, they're going to have you on their mind.
Yep. So we send our email out on Thursday afternoons. That has seen, we've played around with several days close to the weekend, and we want to be close enough that, you know, people are still making their plans. And since it's based, you know, the primary piece is always about the music, or almost always. And so that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so we found that Thursday is enough in advance to be focusing on that, or getting people thinking about, oh yeah, tomorrow night, what am I doing? And not too far out in the future that, you know, people forget about it by the time Friday night rolls around. So
Makes sense.
yeah,
I have noticed that your bands tend to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So obviously, I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that we can do, some things that we can refine, especially with your social media accounts. And hopefully, I think we'll be able to hit both of those demographics that you're aiming for, especially since you are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are really good for kind of getting into those demographics you're looking for. So I think
Great.
that's going to be really good for you.
Okay, awesome.
Excellent. Well, it looks like my 10 minutes is almost up, but thank you for answering my questions, Kathy.
Thank you, Brian.
Big thank you to Kathy Ussery at Jack's Place for giving us so much of her time. She gets to relax now while the students begin formulating their plans. They'll meet Kathy again in 1 month to present their initial pitches. That's for show number 2. Then at the end of the semester for show number 3, they'll give their final pitches and we'll name the winner. Kathy gets a vote, I get a vote, and one more person gets a vote. She is the director of the Idaho Small Business Development Center, Marie Baker. Marie, thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching this whole time. What did you notice about those initial meetings?
You know what? It was really fun to watch, because this is what we do at the Small Business Development Center each and every day, is work with businesses just like Kathy's. And first of all, I want to do a shout out to Jack's Place. They got through a very challenging 2 years, and they, like many small businesses, are seeking the help to let people know they're still alive and thriving. So thank you, Kathy, for being here. And what I noticed is both the students were prepared with some great questions. Mm-hmm. They asked some really great ones, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with for Jack's Place, so that they can implement it in a consistent and efficient manner that's cost effective, and will get a little bit of return on their investment. One thing I did notice is neither of them asked Kathy if she had a budget for marketing. So I did notice that, because whatever we're going to present will need some implementation. And yes, Kathy's doing a lot of things, constant contact, or I'm not sure, her social media, email, I'm not sure what form she's using, that typically has a subscription fee, and you know, it's nominal, so she's getting those out, and social media as well. But once you start really getting selective into a specific target market, and Kathy actually identified several different markets.
Yes. What jumped out at you? Because I mean, I couldn't write fast enough. There were a couple of things that just popped for me.
Well, I think there are several very specific markets, and they're not the same. And so it's going to be a spend on social media in different areas. So for example, it's a family-friendly place. And I know that to reach the families that are even, you know, it's a neighborhood place. That's what jumped out at me. It's a neighborhood place. So how do we market to the people in the neighborhood, say within 5 or 10 miles? What does that look like? And with a little bit of a social media spend, we could do that. And then also what jumped out is CWI students. And at the same time, however, is that the space for them in terms of their budget? And I don't know that. So that's
right.
something to think through.
Right.
And then third thing I noticed Kathy, which I think is kind of exciting, is the wine tasting type event. And that's a whole completely different market. So I think there's some real exciting opportunities for both Brian and Carmen to work with. I'm really excited to see where they take this and how Kathy and team can institute it to really continue to grow their business.
Yeah. The other thing that kept popping in both of the interviews with Carmen and with Brian was the notion of experience. And that is very, very important to Kathy as you know, a semi-regular. I would echo that. But is that something, Marie, that does that sell? Is that a differentiator with their market?
You know, what's interesting is we always talk, and Kathy, you made a really important statement, you know, everyone eats. Well, everyone does eat. However, everyone likes different types of experiences. So when I heard her say that family friendly, this is your local neighborhood grill, it started envisioning some things for me personally about, oh, what does that look like? And I do think it matters. And that could be one thing to capitalize on as you go out to the marketplace. Because I do think people, it's about relationships, and that's what you're doing out there. And it's not, you know, if someone just goes to fast food, that's transactional. This is about relationships. So it's building on those relationships, maintaining them, and enhancing them. And both Brian and Carmen, I'm excited to see what you come up with so that they can do that.
I thought they did a good job. Again, you know, I get a vote, you get a vote, Kathy gets a vote. Carmen really got to the touchy-feely part really, really quickly. The fact that she didn't know about the social media presence Jack Place already had might have been, you know, a little tick in the notepad. You're like, huh? But I think she rehabilitated herself. And, you know, as somebody who has been on both sides, we've both been on both sides of the table. It's frightening to be there. So to kind of be shocked like that as she was, I thought she recovered really, really well.
Yep, I would agree. I would agree. And I do think it's important. I think what Carmen was trying to do is understand Kathy and understand what was going on before she really set a path for, okay, what's next? Where Brian had clearly been on the pages, had seen what was there, and had a sense, and certainly because he was second, he had more of a sense of where they were going. And so didn't have to ask those questions. So I think they both were
so important to bring that up. That it was really, really hard for her to plow the first part of the trail. And I'm going to be really interested to see where they decide to expend their resources, because as you mentioned, you know, if you want to, you could go after the wine crowd. If you want to, you could simply go after the CWI student crowd, and that's the choice that they'll have to make along the way. Marie, tell us about what kinds of resources you guys have for people like Kathy all over the Treasure Valley.
Well, we actually have it all over the state, oh, by the way, but we are Region 3, which is here in the Treasure Valley, and it's called the Small Business Development Center. We offer no-cost consulting to businesses just like Kathy, anywhere that they are in their business journey, to help them walk through some of these issues, really identify certain things, and really the goal is to help them accelerate their business and thrive. We are located actually here in Nampa. We are kind of down the street next. We're CWI's neighbor and Jack's Place neighbor. We have a Nampa accelerator here. We have one in Boise, and we also have consultants throughout the valley that can meet small business needs. So we are here to absolutely help you thrive, your business thrive, and help you grow.
You know, we have similar missions that the College of Western Idaho is committed to making a difference in ours community, and as you are. Once again, oh, go ahead.
Nope, and that's why we're here, because we absolutely know that students like Carmen and Brian are going to be the people that we use to help these small businesses as we refer and as we bring people in. So we're thrilled to be part of this project.
Thank you so much. And we're actually thrilled to have you as part of it as well. Thank you so much for joining us today for episode 1 of Otter Tank. And again, In about a month, we will drop episode number 2. I really think you ought to watch it.